Sri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Our ancient Indian tradition and culture based on our Vedic systems. According to Vedic law, we used to follow all the principles accordingly. Vedic law makes the people to understand their prime duties towards all the beings, not only human, even animal beings, whatever the so. Vedic law plays the most important role in establishing dharma in humankind. So we have to understand the deep essence of Vedic law. So today I took Vedic law as a topic. Let us discuss after the prayer. Kirite nishesho lalate hutasho buje bhogirajo gale kalimacha tano kamini yasya tatulya devam न जाने न जाने न जाने न जाने. Vedic law, justice and rehabilitation must replace a prevailing system of law, justice and rehabilitation in order to make law nourishing to all, justice equally satisfying to all, and rehabilitation effective for all. Within the very nature of a person, it is all divine, infinite, unbounded. A field of infinite correlation is there, existing deep within him. The Transcendental Meditation Technique enlivens it. The settled state of consciousness has a characteristic of infinite correlation, and once that is enlivened, the man can only be infinitely correlated with his environment. He can only be supportive and enriching to all his environment. The word rehabilitation should go to that extreme end, to the absolute awakening of the inner being. As per survey and figures available, India has the most backlogged cases in the world. The number is shocking. 40 lakhs cases in Indian high courts and about 65,000 in Supreme Court of India only. There are a large number of cases which continue over 10 to 20 years. In many cases, parties expire and case closes without any judgment. Similar chaotic situation is of registration of crime, though large numbers of cases are not registered. This shows it is not the administrative problem. It is some serious problem at the root of legal system in India, which needs to be attended. Otherwise, crime will continue to take place, will grow, cases will increase, and precious time of judges, resources of Indian treasury will waste to handle the situation. Parties to the case will suffer without timely justice. Justice delayed is justice denied. This is the pain of everyone facing courts but is helpless. India must take steps to control crime. Vedic approach to law, justice and rehabilitation program is the answer for it. For law, justice, and rehabilitation to be scientific, it has to be Vedic law, justice, and rehabilitation. All theories of modern science uphold all disciplines of Vedic science because Vedic science is fundamental to modern science. The means to achieve Vedic law, justice, and rehabilitation is through Vedic education, Vedic healthcare, and Vedic administration, which will unfold the potential creativity of Veda. The total potential of law in the consciousness and physiology of everyone, so that the impulse of cosmic law, total law, natural law, the impulse of everyone's own thought, speech, and action, and the nourishing nature of law becomes the guiding light of their own life. In this perfection of Vedic law, everyone's life will spontaneously nourish to everyone else's life, and society as a whole will be problem free. The power of law will provide justice only if it upholds the birthright of everyone in freedom, affluence, and the ability to fulfill desires. This can only be achieved if law at every level, national, state, district, etc., is Vedic law, which means that it promotes the full blossoming of cosmic law in every expression of life. The laws of education and health should spontaneously educate and train everyone to display his natural birthright, freedom, bliss, and progress, fulfillment of his own desires while supporting the desires of everyone else. The purpose of law, the purpose of justice, and the purpose of rehabilitation can be realized by enlivening the full potential of natural law. Enlivenment of this can be realized by Vedic education and Vedic healthcare, which will maintain the law of Atma to be the law of the intellect, to be the law of the mind, to be the law of thought, to be the law of speech, to be the law of behavior. Daily life spontaneously upholding the total potential of natural law. Law only will be purposeful if it leads everyone to live the infinite creative potential of his own self. Vedic law is ideal of law through its own self-interacting dynamics. It is self-rehabilitating and it is itself rejuvenating and nourishing to all. It spontaneously brings justice to all. Vedic law is the system of evolution that transforms consciousness into physiology and administers the activity of the individual and the whole universe. Natural law must be supported by natural law so that national administration remains free from problems and administers the nation with the same perfect order as natural law administers the universe. The knowledge of natural law, its theory and practice must be included in curriculum of every school and university, training students and citizens to be law abiding by nature, not violate national and natural law, and not to face any court or trial, and not to seek every a chance to go through any rehabilitation program. While deciding on the issue at hand, the king also reflected on the education he received in the palace from priests. The classic Hindu law was developed during the Vedic period. The priest's lesson included information on the three sources of Dharma, first being the Vedas, which symbolize revelation, were a collection of hymns, praises, as well as ritual instructions, and comprised of four Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. The narrative of these texts was inclusive of technology on law, medicine, tools, etc. The second source, Mahendra, recalled clearly were the numerous smritis, written texts by scholars who had access to knowledge of Vedas and contained collected customs and practices. He recalled that the third source was customary laws of his kingdom known as acharas. The Hindu text made the king the ultimate law authority within a court, giving them a power equivalent to the contemporary apex court. There were defined methods of proof comparable to today's burden of proof. Oaths for simpler cases were used to help in the decision-making process. The decision was ultimately based on different texts like Manu, Yajnavalkya, Dharma Shastras, and Smritis. As a trial dealing with cow theft was at its conclusive stage, the king regained his thoughts and realized that his words were the final verdict that impart justice and punish the guilty. Carefully considering the facts and evidence put forth by both sides, Mahendra convicted the accused and sentenced him to keep a lamp lit for the entire night in the village temple without fail. He realized his decisions would exist only in memory, without any written record or journal. After his Sabha concluded, Mahendra ruminated about Manu Smriti and Yajnavalkya Smriti and how his decision was based on the knowledge these texts bestowed. The Indian legal system developed through multiple texts entwined with the lessons of Dharma and Karma. The Vedas, the Smritis, Dharma Sutras, commentaries, digests of Dharma Shastra, and Puranas are still traceable in the contemporary legal practices, with a plethora of legislations that lay down the code of conduct and rules for every aspect of our lives. Legal procedures, crimes, and punishments awarded for such enemies. A parallel can be easily drawn to the present legal structure to the system followed in the ancient period without impediment. The word dharma has its root dhru, meaning to uphold, to support, and to sustain. The famous verse from Mahabharata says, Dharma has a wide variety of meanings. For example, the word is used to mean justice, but Dharma is right in a given circumstance. Moral values of life, pious obligations of individuals, righteous conduct in every sphere of activity being helpful to other living beings. Giving clarity to individuals in need of it or to a public cause or alms to the needy, natural qualities or characteristics or properties of living beings, duty, law, etc. Dharma as law of things being what they are. Dharma as moral order. Dharma as sum of duties. Dharma as object of pursuit. Dharma as religion. Dharma as bhakti. Dharma as ethics. Dharma as divine justice. Dharma as religious duty. Dharma as law. Finally, Dharma as good works. The origin and evolution of Dharma or justice during the Vedic period. Dharma originated from Vedas, that are Shruti, and they are the best supply of understanding for humans as the narration on everything, viable, ranging from army to politics to common people's life. Its different sources are Smriti, which are the translation of Vedas, and four sages have propounded Dharma Sutras and are referred to as Smritikaras. They are Manu, Manusmriti, Yajnavalkya, Yajnavalkya Smriti, Brihaspati, Barhaspati Smriti, Narada, Narada Smriti. The other source has been Puranas, which are 18 in variety and incorporates information, approximately the introduction and dynasties of God, sages, and kings, and distinct description of yugas. All the sources are on the equal footstep, and no one has supremacy over the different. Idea which made humans adhere to dharma may be illustrated with the aid of one verse from Brihadaranyaka, which is Punyo vai punyena karmana bhavati papaha papeneti, meaning everyone becomes excellent via desirable deeds and awful through terrible deeds. In different words, everyone reaps what he sows, and what's true is defined through dharma. In evolution with modern day law, the classical Hindu law became a peculiar legal system as it followed a completely unique arrangement of regulation and polity with a unique scheme of values. Ancient Indian represented an awesome lifestyle of regulation and had a historically impartial school of legal principle and practice. The most important intention of the regulation in the Vedic period become to preserve dharma because of this righteousness and duty. The rise of dharma from mere existence during Vedic period. In the mingling with the anthropomorphic tendencies of the Vedic period, in due course of time it became associated with the actions of individual deities. The Reta became associated with Varuna, the omniscient, all-pervading sky god. Adityas became the charioteers of Rita. Varuna became the friend and keeper of Rita. Varuna became the universal power which maintained Rita and was celebrated as having separated and established heaven and earth, spreading them out as the upper and lower firmament, himself enthralled above them as the universal king, ordering the immutable moral law. Eventually, Dharma overshadowed Rita in the later Vedic period. White Rita encompassed the ethical principles of with a notion of cosmic energy. Dharma was said to be a path to be followed as per the ordinance of Rita. Failing to follow this path meant appearance of various forms of calamity and suffering. Committing to the path of Rita was Dharma. So we can say that Dharma was originally conceptualized as a subordinate component. Rita Dharma became a very useful instrument in forming religious, moral, and social regulations. That interest in it and discussion of its applications to social and moral order eclipsed all discussions of metaphysical and theological ideas. There was also an important change in later Vedic and epic era. The notion of Dharma shifted emphasis away from nature as a executor of Rita, and now it became more or less an individual duty to uphold the Dharma through one's actions. This was called karma. Karma is what one does to uphold the Dharma, and thus the emphasis from the natural order is vanished, and it became essentially related to the pains and pleasures one experiences in life. And this tried to explain the gross inequality and injustice in the world. So, karma was somewhat opposite to Rita as well as Dharma. Karma became the central piece of Hindu philosophy in later Vedic era. Living with the established Dharma and justice during Vedic period. Answer. Dharma is Sanatana, which has eternal villages or eternal values. One is neither time sure nor space bound. The idea of Dharma is with us from time immemorial. Dharma isn't like religion. However, they are generally misinterpreted to mean the same and hence used interchangeably. As the above said, turned into distinguished justice of Krishna. Hamsara in A.S. Narayana Dikshitulu versus State of Andhra Pradesh and ours with the aid of quoting Swami Rama's book, A Call to Humanity, by way of subsequent words. Religion is enriched by using visionary method and theology, whereas Dharma blooms within the realm of direct experience. Religion contributes to the changing levels of a culture. Dharma enhances the beauty of spirituality. Religion can also encourage one to build a fragile, mortal home for good. Dharma allows one to understand the immortal shine within heart. The supremacy of Dharma may be understood broom an easy factor that the king changes into now not above Dharma. He became governed by way of it, and if he did not, then Dharma Shastrakara give right to the general public to revolt in opposition to such an unjust, arbitrary, and unrighteous king or government. The treatise of Manu, Kautilya, and others consists of many rights and duties of both the king and the public, and can recognize person rights like proper to private property, non-public wealth, etc., which have been certainly via the law for hobby of society at large. Namam turned into seemed as a foundation of justice, has to act because the Lord of Dharma and was entrusted with the splendid authority of the administration of justice, and his foremost responsibility engaged into defend themselves or defend the rights of the subject. The king's court was the very best court. Docket of appeal in addition to an original court docket in instances of importance to the state. In the king's court, the king changed into recommended without the old aid of enchanged to recommended with the aid of learned humans like learned Brahmins, the ministers, the chief justice, etc. As stated by way of the Brihaspati, there were four kinds of tribunals, namely stationary, movable courts held underneath the royal sight within the absence of the king, and commissions before the king's presidency. So there has been hierarchy of court. In villages, the village councils death with simple way, civil and criminal cases. At a higher degree, in towns and districts, the courts have been presided over by authorities, officers, under the authority of king to administrator Justin. In order to cope with the problem amongst members of artisanal classes, buyers, etc., change guilds were authorized to work a powerful jurisdiction over their members. Family courts have been additionally established. Puga assemblies made up for cooperative is formed the families in the incidental village determined evil depths amongst family members. Minor criminal instances have been dealt with the aid of judicial assemblies in villages. Whereas criminal cases of extreme nature have been presented before the central courtroom, usually held beneath the king or royal authority, the appeal machine changed into the very useful system. The appeal machine engaged into five very best realm of appeal on great future of historical Indian legal gadget become the absence of lawyers. Another fantastic function become that a bench of two or three exist judges became constantly court at the same time. As you know, the person from Twitter also send my all the qualities. The definitive of dharma is tried to be clarified with the aid of using extraordinary verses from everyone. Dharma in context of Rajya Huntist means regulations, and dharma is secular or maybe the maximum secularism. Ekantaya Kalyana Nidhi Nidram Sri Vengadivasa Srinivasaya Mangalam Mangala Sahasrama Madhacharya Brahma Sarvesha Murray Rajare Satkritaya Stu Mangalam.